In the energy markets, I want to focus on WTI. Again, today we saw another big move. The volatility continues to persist in the crude oil space, and certainly when we look at WTI, some further selling pressure today. We saw WTI down about 4%. Currently settling right around the 51.14 level. We did see a high of 53.05, a low of 50.72 for the day's session. Downward pressure once again enters the crude space as we see some of the data points continue to roll out and not be particularly favorable to the WTI space. And I want to point out that we did not break below the intraday low that we realized about a week ago in WTI, but came very close. 50.60 is that low point. 50.72 is the low today. So we're certainly back down to the lower end of the range, and you have to go back to early January to see crude at these levels. The supply story continues to be an issue for the trend and for the WTI price point when you look at the downward trend and it continues to realize. And the EIA number today confirmed yesterday's API number. We saw a build of about 2.2 million barrels for last week in the EIA number. That's on top of the sizable build in the API number yesterday, which was, I believe, 4.85 million barrels. So that trend continues to persist in the marketplace, where we continue to see larger builds than expected. And that, I think, is part of the reason why we're seeing this downward pressure on the WTI and the crude oil space as a whole. And also, when you take it out from just from the U.S. and put it into a more macro or global perspective, you continue to see the demand story as another headwind for the WTI space. And we're seeing that demand, the expectations for that demand to waver. The longer that this China-U.S. tariff situation persists, that the idea is that demand's going to continue to contract. And ultimately, even with OPEC and OPEC Plus meeting later this month, and trying to counteract some of that, I think the U.S. builds and the U.S. production are enough of a counter trend to what OPEC is trying to continue to maintain as far as limiting the production, that you're seeing the markets adjust for that possibility. And so that supply demand story really is the underlying theme here. We're seeing again the idea that global demand will continue to waver the longer these tariffs continue to stay in place, and we're seeing production in the U.S. pick up. We're seeing inventories building, and we're not seeing an OPEC giving a unified message to this point as they enter that meeting at the end of June. All of these items, I think, are a confluence of events are leading into this downward pressure on the WTI space.